Well, hello, and welcome everybody to F1 Xbox Tier 2 round number 3 in Baku. We're back again for the first of 2 races here tonight. We saw the PC guys from Americas take it on last night. We even saw an overtake through the castle section here at Baku. Quite rare. Biggles and I were excited to see that. Unfortunately, don't have Biggles with me tonight. It is just myself here, and I hope I bring you a pretty decent show. We'll get that off the screen again. I failed once again and didn't take it off early enough, but we're out for qualifying now. 16 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Basehead out here on the medium tires. We saw last night Creamy Johns qualified on the mediums here, but a safety car kind of threw a wrench in all of those plans. Came back out on the mediums after that first safety car, had to pit again for the softs under the second safety car, and he made out because he grabbed a podium from that. But we did see 2 soft runners on the podium as well, so viable strategies all around here in Baku. I think starting on the softs has paid off a bit more just because of how common safety cars can be around a circuit like this. You see Mike going through the castle section here, the very section where we saw a brilliant overtake last night. PPR Ollie's here out setting a hot lap right now. He's got Quick Tongue just ahead of him. Quick Tongue also on a hot lap here, so they need to be careful not to get intertwined with one another. It looks like Ollie's might be a bit quicker there, not exactly sure, but we'll keep a close eye on this. I'm sure he doesn't want to be this close to somebody in the qualifying session. Let's take a look here. Please. Ooh, that's still working. All right, so we're all good here in the booth. We do have a yellow flag in sector number 1. Looks like 2 Ferraris back there with an Alfa Romeo, and an Alfa Romeo might be having some issues. It's Dodger pulling right out in front of a McLaren there. Oh, that was the best time to go, but maybe didn't see him coming in the rear view there. T-Burke out on a hot lap as well, but let's go back up to Ollie's and Quick Tongue, as Quick Tongue just went off the circuit there and coming through the 3rd sector, at least the start of it there, and we see a purple sector from Ollie's. He's the first driver through, so no surprise there. Pretty much has to be a purple sector for him, but coming through sector 3 here is really where he's got to get on the throttle and get these very tight corners of Baku out of the way, open it up, and get that Alpine across the line without much of an issue here. Let's see where he's at. It's in the 39s. It's a 39.1, so about 2 seconds off pole from last night. Basehead in the 40s there. Let's see who else is coming around. It looks like T-Burke will be the next driver. No, there is an Alpha Tauri. That'll be the teammate. That's Quick Tongue, as Basehead did set that 140.1 there. Quick Tongue's time does not validate. As here comes the Ferrari of T-Burke here. Using all of that ERS and DRS that he has and scooting across the line here. He's in the 40s. It's a 40.2. I know he's got more time in him here, so just needs to recharge and get back out. Mike here setting a hot lap as well, coming down the backstrike, trying to get a tow from Sprightly there up ahead. The Ferrari, who is on an outlap right now, might be helping out the rival in the Red Bull, although it does not promote him above the teammate of Sprightly. That's T-Burke with a 40.2, Mike with a 40.4. Yellow flag there. It's a McLaren off its father corn. Oh, and there goes Hulk Smash right into the wall. And speaking of Hulk Smash, taking off that front wing. That couldn't have been more brilliant. Excuse me one moment while we turn this on so we don't get any more of those annoying pings in the background here. Redeemer, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the show. As always here at Baku. We do have 12 here tonight for the Tier 2 race. I think we have another 18 or so for the Tier 1 race. We have a yellow flag in Sector 3. Is that Hulk Smash going in? The McLaren of Skits off the track. A lot of drivers really having issues here. He's not the first driver that we've seen really run off. Or fortunately, he did not run into anything there. But here's Dodger, who's ghosted for some reason. I'm I missed why that would be. Quick Tongue goes provisional pole with the 39 flat. And I know there's a bit more pace here in these Tier 2 fellas as long as they get out and set a good lap, good clean lap here as Dodger G22 here goes down towards one of the hardest corners on the circuit. Manages to get through cleanly and not using too much curb at that, so maybe a bit more time in there for the Alfa Romeo, although he does go purple in that beautifully liveried car. He's running without a helmet, but he still has a visor. That's one of those new technological upgrades that we saw in Back to the Future from 1984. You can see he managed to have just the visor on there. It's quite beautiful. We love that. As Dodger sprints through towards the line here, Dodger goes P3, so on the second row for the Alfa Romeo. And Deemer will be back next week. Good to hear. Corny, let's see. From Father Corn. I love this track. Hopefully, have a good time. Just before he crashes on his first hot lap. Yeah, so Father Corn will be starting at the back of the grid. As long as there's no penalties that I'm missing here. Sprightly with a 40.7. Let's see. It looks like Skits might be setting a qualifying time here. Coming through the third sector. His time right now is not going to compete for nearly anything, as he'll be in the 2 minutes if he crosses the line at this point. Nearly a GT3 time. What's going on with Skits as he crosses the line here? Maybe a second outlap. Trying to warm up those tires just a little bit more. You can see it in the 205s. Does not meet the 107% rule. Not that that's enforced anyways, as we saw in F2 a couple years ago. Unfortunately, Courtney, we missed it. Didn't see exactly what happened with you there. We were jumping around. There was quite a bit of action, surprisingly enough, in this qualifying session. Although it is Baku, and no matter what time you're watching a Baku event, there's always something going on here. Alright, as we have Skits still coming through here. Doesn't look mighty quick. Definitely another outlap for him. I see a yellow flag in Sector 1. Is this Cold Carnival setting a hot lap now? It appears it is. There's a Ferrari with issues there. It's T-Burke, who must have missed his braking point, as it doesn't appear any drivers are near him other than his teammate. Go back on board with Cold Carnival. Keep an eye out for Boosted GMC, though, right now, as he's looking to cross the line. Here goes Boosted GMC towards the pit straight. And let's see what he can set here. It is a provisional pole position. It's a 138.945 there from Boosted GMC. Let's see if Cold Carnival has anything to say about that. Boosted GMC has shown great pace in the early parts of this season. It shows that he has what it takes to grab this Tier 2 title and maybe move on to Tier 1 if he finds some pretty good pace in that Alpine. Japan next week. That should be difficult. One of the more technical tracks out there, but definitely one of my favorites. Top 3 tracks on the calendar. Absolutely love Suzuka. Though in the GT3s, it's even a bit better, as here goes Cold Carnival across the line, goes onto the third row. Cold Carnival with a 140 flat there. It seems to be about right. When we really look around the grid, everyone seems to be right around that number there, give or take a few tenths in either direction. Sprightly here looks to be diving into the pits. Let's see if Ollie's is out for another qualifying time. It looks like he has used some ERS here, and through the castle section, he's sliding along. So Ollie's looking to regain that pole position that he once found in this Alpine. He would be snagging it from his teammate, Boosted GMC there, and Alpine looking for a front row lockout here. The Alpine sprints towards this third sector. There's a Red Bull up ahead, and I'm not sure if that's Hulk Smash. It is Hulk Smash, just ahead his teammate further down towards turn 1. So Hulk Smash there in Sector 3. Looking maybe he'll give a bit of a drag unintentionally to the Alpine here, and that could be enough for Ollie's to overtake his teammate for P1 in this qualifying session. See, across the line it is. It's a 38.8, so a tenth of a second separates Ollie's and Boosted GMC. And we saw the Red Bull there going a bit wide. Hulk Smash surprising. A 42.3. Skits now in the 49s. But let's see now as this looks a bit cleaner from Skits. It's a 46.3. A good lap time here from Skits. See Cold Carnival on his in-lap here. Ollie's on his in-lap as well. T-Burke out setting a quicker time. He's 0.3 up on his time right now. That would promote him onto the third row. But can he find another 3.5 or so to qualify for the second row here? He's got to watch out for Dodger, who qualified with a 39.6 on mediums. Well, here goes T-Burke on the softs. Let's see if he can overtake those guys up ahead, including his teammate, who's 0.2 ahead there. T-Burke with a 40.2 looks to be improving at the moment. It's a clean Sector 3 so far. Really just needs to get the good flowing air over this car, hunker down, and get across the line. Let's see. It's a 39. It's a 39.662. It's good enough for the third row. Nearly takes over from Dodger there, who's actually back out on the mediums as well. So T-Burke onto the third row in P5 there with a 39.6. A good time from the Ferrari driver. Skit's still out here just doing what I've seen him do a few times. He's getting these laps in around the circuit and maybe a little bit of warm-up for Skits as well. So by the time the race starts, he's going to be mighty comfortable with these tires. Moves out of the way. The Red Bull behind. Is that Hulk Smash? There it is, and it looks like both of them want to be behind one another. Goes Hulk Smash. I thought this was a hot lap for Hulk Smash. Not sure if he backed out of it or what exactly happened here. Just saw an Alfa Romeo go across the line. That'd be Dodger, so he's out setting his hot lap. And DRS not open, so an in-lap there from Hulk Smash. Skits does open the DRS, but it looks to be on an in-lap as well. And Corny, that is a great question. I'm not exactly sure, but we're here for it. So anybody that jumps in, please know that you're more than welcome. Sorry, I get a bit distracted here at times, especially when I'm solo. Looks like Dodger's improving on his time. Really wants to start on the medium tires here as he's back out once again. He already set his banker lap of a 39.6 to really hold him steady there. Usually you'd see him come back out on the softs and out-qualify himself if need be, but he's out here on the mediums. He is improving at the moment, so the Alfa Romeo of Dodger looking to get on the front row on the mediums here. You see Boosted out here on the mediums as well as Cold Carnival, but he is retired from the session down there in turn number 2. You can see on the mini-map. So let's keep a close eye on Dodger, who has opted, like I said before, without running a safety crash helmet for tonight's race. Apparently a new feature in 2021. Drivers are able to race without a helmet if they please. Just saw Basehead go into P2 there with a 38.9 on the soft tires. Here goes Dodger. What's he going to be able to do? It's in the 39s. It's a 39.5 and not good enough for any places on the grid. Looks like Boosted GMC is improving on his time, even though he's on the harder compound of tires, and it would actually be enough to get back up into P2 there and start on a different strategy from his teammate, which would be great for this team to get out here on 2 different tire compounds, locking out the front row. Let's stay on board with Boosted GMC and see what he's able to do as he collects the wall a little bit, but thankfully the physics aren't up to par, and he's able to sneak through unscathed. So we do have a purple sector there from Boosted GMC through sector number 2. And here goes Boosted GMC really running towards the line. Needs to hug that inside wall just a bit more there as he approaches the DRS. So it'll open up those flaps and see what he's able to do. Past the pit entry boards, and we have Boosted GMC across the line here. And he goes provisional pole position on the medium tires as well. What a lap there from Boosted GMC. No Basehead out here as well, not setting a meaningful time at the moment. I'm not sure if Dodger, no, he's clearly not on another hot lap here. T-Burke looking to move up a bit as Dodger overtook him, or no, Basehead it was, overtook him. moved up the order a bit, tossed everybody down a position. T-Burke there with a 39.6. He's on the outlap on soft, so could improve a bit. Cold Carnival not in the discussion anymore. Sprightly could jump up the order, as well as this man right here, Mike Young. He's a race winner here at PPR Esports. Is the man in the Red Bull. He finds himself down in P9 right now. You see Father Corn down there in P12. Well, that's because he couldn't get the car through his outlap without crashing into a wall. He is in the chat, though. And we always welcome you here at Chat Corner. We love to have you. As Boosted GMC retires from the session, so knows he won't get another lap in here. But let's see what Mike Yunt does through the first sector here. He's 4/10 up on his time, so a massive improvement so far. But that would only move him up to P7 or so. He needs another 4 or 5 tenths through the next 2 sectors to have a time that should qualify nearer the top. So we have an Alpine. Oh, it's because Boosted GMC collected a wall there. And did this force Mike Young to abort? It did, it appears, as he's now storing some more ERS, or maybe not. A bit more on the throttle here. It's hard to tell. Looks like he's still gunning for it right now. He's going to get to the line no matter what. Should be safe here. It's actually going to be pretty close, but he should be safe by about a second or two. So we see he's still improving. So even with that bit of a slowdown distraction unintentionally by Boosted GMC, he still finds himself improving right now. And here comes Mike Yunt towards the line. He will be the next driver to cross the line. As I see the Ferrari of T-Burke going through Sector 2 there. His teammate as well, just behind him, I believe. And there goes Mike Yunt across the line. He does improve into P7. It's actually Sprightly ahead of T-Burke. Toss it over to him, but also keep an eye on Ollie's out here. He's 1/10 up on his time, and that would be enough to jump ahead of his teammate, Boosted GMC, for pole position. Mike Yunt does retire. Will qualify no higher than P7. Here's Ollie's. He is just behind Sprightly, who is about 7 positions behind on the board. We'll stay on board with Ollie's, though, as he has a chance to capture pole position here. Through Sector 3 now goes PPR Ollie's. He had a purple Sector 2 there after his teammate crashed out through the castle section just a few laps ago, maybe just a lap ago or so. Here comes Ollie sprinting towards the line as we saw the yellow flag flashing there. Looks like all is clear. Sprightly goes P7. Ollie's does go pole position there. Can T-Burke grab it from him? He needs a second and a half to really contend towards the top of this grid here, as T-Burke will be the next driver to cross the line. It's going to be a second row for T-Burke. It's a 38.8, a great time there, only a 10th or so from P2, about a half a second, though, from pole position. What a lap from Ollie's. As Skits takes us across the line there, we will see our starting grid in just a moment. As there it is, Ollie starts P1 with his teammate, Boosted GMC, starting there P2, but alternate strategies. He was about a half second slower on the lap. We figure that matches up pretty perfect. T-Burke there in P3 with that final last-ditch effort to get on the second row. Basehead there lines up next to T-Burke with Quick Tongue and Dodger on the next row. Sprightly, Mike Yunt, Cold Carnival, and Hulk Smash round out the top 10 with Skits and Corny in P11 and P12. Now, those are the only 2 drivers who will have a free tire choice here. We'll see if it will be up to them whether or not they will grab a set of mediums in this race. I don't expect to see anybody start on hards, but it is possible. Maybe they'll even start on soft tires just to keep close enough to the drivers ahead. And thank you for the follow there, although I'm not going to say that. Much appreciated and welcome here. So as we have this qualifying session coming to an end, the AlphaTauri and the Alpine teams off to a great start already here in Baku. Ferrari as well, a double qualification in the top 10, but so is the Red Bull team there. McLaren, though, looking to have a good redemption story after a qualifying that leaves a lot to be desired there for that team. So as we have the lobby posting up here, we do have, it looks to be a bit of overcast, but doesn't seem to be wet conditions at all, so that's good to hear. As I mentioned earlier, we do have the Tier 1 race. That'll be in about an hour and 6 minutes or so, so as soon as this race ends, we'll jump right into that one with maybe a little tiny break there. Take a look here at the championship standings before we get started in this race. I probably should have brought that up earlier, but unfortunately I just, well, didn't. So it's going to be Mike. That's got to be the most surprising. Tied for the championship lead with Kyle in the Alpine. And Mike qualified down in P7 there, so really needs to step on the throttle to pick up some points. I know that T-Burke looking to pick up a bit more points as well, only 8 points on the season, but finds himself on the second row. Could really have a good run to the top 5 or so overall in the standings. Down in the constructor standings, it's the Red Bull team with 52 points on the season, Alpine with 50, and Alpha Tauri with 47. So a close three-way battle right there up at the top. Although Alfa Romeo, Mercedes, McLaren, and Ferrari all managing to score points during this season. So if we split it in two, there's some great battles going on all around the grid. And hopefully this race decides to start up sooner rather than later here. So we do, as I mentioned, have a race coming up in about an hour and 4 minutes now. Okay. All right, so we'll see out there if we can get a bit of a prediction tossed up here. Why not? Will an Alpine lead by the end of lap 1? Yes or no? We can give you guys 2 minutes to get that one filled out. And eventually, the race should start here. There it is, the timer getting tossed up there. Go ahead and use those channel points to predict for who you think will lead at the end of lap 1. Will it be an Alpine? Will it be another team? We've seen worse things here. And it does look like we're starting in 5 seconds or so. We will have a bit of a formation lap going around Baku. And get a good look at the grid here. So there we have the formation lap getting underway here. It's PPR Ollies and boosted GMC there in P1 and P2. T-Burke down there in P3 with Basehead and Quick Tongue hot on his tail. Now Dodger's just a bit further down, but we know he has good pace, especially on those medium tires. Sprightly there in P7. As I toss it around a bit, it's saying a 2-stop for him as well as a 2-stop for the Ferrari. Now, both drivers should be able to get through with a 1-stop if they'd like, but with the amount of safety cars that we usually have here at Baku, I would imagine a lot of drivers electing for a 2-stop race here. Now, Mike Yunt down there in P8 needs to make up some positions to hold on to his championship lead, or at least a tie for it. And then Cold Carnival down there in P9 with the teammate of Mike Yunt in P10. That's the Red Bull Constructors leading the way so far. A bit of double points have been picked up on the season. Skits and Father Corn at the back of the grid both elect to start on those medium tires. Toss that up. So there is the graphic for the tire selection. You can see Boosted GMC and Dodger were two drivers who qualified on the mediums. Skits and Father Corn did not, but they've elected to go onto those tires after starting outside of the top 10. Let's take a look here and toss this on. Always gives us a good idea of what's going on here. A little bit of position change action as Ollie sprints towards the line here. He's going to actually back off just a little bit, try and keep those tires up to temperature. As T-Burke's down in P3 here. We'll see what he's able to do on those softs if he can attack, but he's going to have to worry about defending as well from the double 69 team of Basehead and Quick Tongue. And I've just realized now about Quick Tongue's name. That's something else. Dodger there in P6 with Sprightly in P7. Now, Sprightly would like to get through and help his teammate with that battle against the Alpha Tauris. But Dodger's going to have something to say about that. On these mediums, we'll see how the defense goes. And we'll wait for Father Korn to get to the back of the grid here. He will be the final driver lining up. And that means we can have the red lights come on here in just a moment. So then, as we line up for the start of this race, we have the red lights coming on, and that means 5 of those red lights on will be 5 of those red lights out right about now, and it's 2 Alpines getting away there at the start of this race. It looks like a better start there from Boosted GMC against his teammate T-Burke with an absolutely abysmal start. As there goes, was that the Alpine that I just completely missed there? Going into the wall. And we've completely missed that. It was the Alpine of Boosted GMC all the way at the back of the grid, Sprightly as well. So it was actually Sprightly with the bad start, not T-Burke. Basehead with a phenomenal start. He's up 2 positions there. We see Quick Tongue down a position. Mike Yunt is up there into P5 or so. Father Korn's made up 4 positions. And there's a bunch of movement on this grid. Very difficult to keep track of everything going on here. We'll see now at the start, it's going to be PPR Ollie's leading the way. His teammate Boosted GMC's down 10 positions, and he's got no front wing there as well. So you'd imagine he's going to box here. Probably, I think a good call is onto the mediums. Still needs the pace and needs the life in the tires in the event there's not an early safety car here. Mike Yunt there needs to worry about Quick Tongue behind, though he's already gotten through once. Although Father Korn is attacking Quick Tongue here as well. See if there's a bit more pace in this McLaren to attack. Although there's an attempted overtake by Quick Tongue, and he does get through. And there's a bunch of damage behind Father Korn there. Was that Cold Carnival, or was that Hulk Smash's wing going through there? As Funky Cactus is in here, so is a VSC. And that means, is that front wing from Mike Yunt gone? Now, how did that happen? As we watch this here, I saw the debris, but there was really no contact. He seemed to completely back out of any form of incident, but now he's got to go straight into the pits. And that's a shame for Mike Yunt. After a great start to this race, Quick Tongue's into the pits as well. T-Burke, Dodger, Basehead, and Ollie's all stay out here under this VSC. And we will see Cold Carnival go into the pits as well, as I suspected he had a bit of damage. Here comes Boosted GMC. Really needs to get into the pits right away as early as possible. This VSC is definitely going to help him out a bit, but now the VSC has ended and Basehead's on the prowl for the lead of this race, with Ollie's still leading the way since the start. T-Burke has dropped off a little bit and needs to keep an eye on Dodger behind. Dodger on that different tire strategy here. That could come into play. Let's see if that replay did save here. It looks like a better start there and it did from the start of the race. So we see Boosted GMC just outran himself right into the wall at the start of this race. So quite a surprising turn of events there that saw one of the contenders for a race win. Not saying it's all over just yet, but Boosted GMC straight into the wall at the start of the race. And it was Sprightly that had an issue there at the start as well. As we tune back in here, we see skids. Wait a minute now. No, we have some issues moving around the grid. Just a reminder, there it is. We are on lap 2, not lap number 3, as the game always likes to have some incidents here on lap 2. Yeah, Funky, you're right. He's lucky to not completely DNF there. I think if that's a real-world scenario, he's being collected by those boards. Here goes Basehead, setting the fastest lap of the day so far. Needs to get even closer to Ollie's, as Father Korn now sets the fastest lap and finds himself up 7 positions into P5. Absolutely great start here from the McLaren driver, who found himself at the back of the grid at the start of this Grand Prix, and now up into P5 just 2 laps in. Skids does improve on his time there as well into the 49s. Quick Tongue there across the line, a bit slower because of the pit stop, and these drivers down at the back had all pitted. Cold Carnival did DNF there into the pits, and it's a purple sector 1 from Basehead here as well. So Basehead on the attack of Ollie's here. Let's see what he's able to do. I saw an overtake last night in the castle section. I will not stop mentioning that because it was so brilliant to see. Cars going side by side through here, and there was no contact between the two, which is quite unbelievable. But that's what you get when you watch PC Tier 1, apparently, here at PPR Esports. Basehead just maybe not attacking at the right moments, although he's still saving some DRS. Both drivers are, so it should be a long battle ahead between these two as they seem evenly matched here. T-Burke not losing too much time, although Dodger is closing the gap just a bit to the Ferrari driver ahead. And we just saw Ollie's DNF from the race. He's into the wall. Ollie's has ran into the wall. We have a VSC out now. Are we going to have a full safety car here? Ollie's has collected the wall as he was leading this Grand Prix, and I can't believe it. As here goes T-Burke across the line. Basehead's into the pits, and you know what? Does Basehead have damage here? Was there contact between the two? It looks like his wing's all good. He's just in because he saw that VSC come out, and it was an early call for him. Not a terrible call. With that little bit of a cheap pit stop. And now we see T-Burke leading the Grand Prix here. What a turn of events in the first 4 laps. 2 of the title contenders out early here. A Mercedes and an Alpine. We're back underway in just a moment once that debris gets cleared up there. I think as soon as Boosted GMC gets past that, but I see Sprightly in the pits here. Let's see, as GMC gets past, the VSC should be ending here shortly. And Dodger has gained about 4/10 on T-Burke through this VSC, so deltas might be just a bit off. Oh, and there's a drive-through penalty for Hulk Smash for speeding under the virtual safety car there. Just went a bit too early. You can see by the time it popped up, which wasn't really worth it because he's not battling anybody side by side at the moment. But we see Dodger has gained time on T-Burke due to that VSC here. But now it's up to T-Burke to defend the lead. We saw Boosted GMC here on these mediums. He crashed early in the race. I'm wondering now, where did Basehead come out? So Basehead's right there in P4. Quick Tongue is in P6. Looks like Basehead did not lose too much time there. As here goes Dodger and T-Burke, and T-Burke's into the wall. T-Burke has struck the wall just a lap after we saw Ollie's do it, and DNF, he hits the wall at the same place. I cannot believe it here. T-Burke straight into the pits, needs to be careful not to crash into the wall here, and now we find Father Korn up 10 positions, and he might not be the driver of the day at the end, but he is through the first 5 laps. He is up 10 positions here, and now challenging for the lead of this race from Dodger. He's on the fresher mediums, and you can see Dodger, he's already a bit slippy on those medium tires. Just 5 laps in here. T-Burke into the pits. He'll have a wing change. He's going to drop down the order a bit. Here goes an attack from Father Korn onto Dodger. There they go through turn number 3, and Father Korn is now leading the race after starting at the back of the grid, just 5 laps in. We also see Skids up into P7, so a good day for McLaren so far. As there goes Sprightly through, and let's see. So T-Burke's back out in P5 right now. He's on the mediums, which you have a chance to go to the end here, and it'll be very close. And Boosted GMC going up a position there, does get through on Hulk Smash. So T-Burke in a good strategy here, finds himself a bit off the back of Quick Tongue. So we have a yellow flag in Sector 2, although I can't figure out where exactly that's happening. Basehead trying to close that 1 second gap to Dodger, and he's done it in a matter of moments. Dodger has completely lost his front wing, and Basehead threw in a P2. This has been an absolute disaster for many of these drivers. Anytime you seem to lead the race here, although Father Korn was leading at that time, anytime you seem to really be challenging for a lead, there's some form of action going on. Starting off with boosted GMC into the wall, then we saw the Alpine of Ollies into the wall, then we saw T-Burk into the wall, and now we've seen Dodger do it as well. And we're only 6 laps in. Now we have a yellow flag, and that's one of the Red Bulls there. Is that Mike Young? No, it's going to be his teammate, Hulk Smash, who's completely in the wall, in the castle section, and he spun around. And now we see a bit of Austin Powers action going on as he can't straighten the car out and elects to use a bit of security there and can't get the car straight. Quick Tongue gets through on Dodger as Dodger has to pit to get that new wing on there. T-Burk up into P4 now. Mike Yunt closing in on T-Burk as well. He finds himself up 3 positions. T-Burk, the only driver of the top 6 to be down a position, and that's because Father Korn has absolutely rocketed up the order to P1 from dead last. Boosted GMC, though, looking to make a comeback here as the next driver he has on his sights, or in his sights, is Skits, and he hasn't done that quickly. Hulk Smash does DNF from the session, so any driver, I think that's foolish to DNF. You finish the race and you get a point here. That's all you have to do is finish the race and you get a point. And you know what? Maybe he didn't do it on purpose because I see him parked on the track here. We'll stay on board with Father Korn as Boosted GMC is getting close to the rear of Dodger. Here's Father Korn coming up through Sector 3, and I just saw the dot disappear on the map. So somewhere along this line, Hulk Smash did crash into the wall, which is not so surprising with a bit of wing damage, but this has been an absolute disaster to the start of this Tier 2 race. We do have a redemption race coming up for a couple guys here. In 49 minutes, we will have the Tier 1 race of Xbox. Sprightly down here in P6. Not really competing with anybody right now, but Boosted GMC looking to be on the attack of Dodger just ahead. Boosted GMC has a bit more pace, it seems, than the drivers ahead of him and is now closing in. He had a fastest lap 1 lap ago. Can he make it 2 for 2 here as he's closing in on the Alfa Romeo up ahead? But now it's all a matter of just bringing your car to the end, apparently, here at Baku. I hope the drivers from Tier 1 are watching, because if you're not careful here, you're going to collect no points, even though there might only be 9 finishing. The GMC is closing a bit to Dodger ahead. See, he's not going to be in DRS range just yet, but maybe in about a 3/4 lap time, he might be there. Basehead still losing to the rear of Father Korn. Let's take a look now at the pit stop. Skits has not pitted yet. Father Korn has not either, which means Basehead is your provisional leader for this race. Quick Tongue would also grab that P2 slot. And I think right when you get down to the T-Burk range, that's going to be that P3 podium position that Father Korn and T-Burk might be fighting over after these pit stops are out of the way here. So I would imagine it to still be quite a few laps away, and if not quite a few laps, even longer, because maybe the hope of a safety car coming out. As Father Korn is being caught by Basehead at the moment. In a few seconds, let's go on board with the rear wing of Dodger and see how close Boosted GMC is. He's within that DRS range now. You can see just under a second behind. He needs to be under that second as they cross the DRS detection point here. Let's see, as they weave their way through this circuit, we have Boosted GMC very close now to the rear wing of the Alfa Romeo here of Dodger. We'll see if he's able to close in even more as that DRS now opens up, and we have this very long pit straight here. You can see the early defensive positioning now by Dodger. Holds on to the position 4 now, but Boosted GMC is even closer going into turn number 2 and DRS zone number 2. Well, technically number 1, as it's the start of the lap now. Boosted GMC is going to be close, but maybe not close enough to attack at the end of this straight. just settling in behind Dodger here. Different tire compounds for these two drivers. Swap it over to the tires, and there you have it. There's what everybody's playing with. Dodger should be a little bit quicker on those softs. I know Dodger has the pace here to contest this position. See, ooh, getting a bit squirrely there, and now just releases Boosted to go through as they get past the tree clearing. It looks like the Alpine is well ahead, although a bit of a fight back there from the Alfa Romeo of Dodger. Doesn't want to give it up easy enough. We have a half-second gap now between Basehead and Father Corn for the lead of this race. Basehead has picked up the DRS right about now and will be attacking Father Corn, and he will get through easily there, right across the line. Shades of Lance Stroll being overtaken by Valtteri Bottas a couple of years ago across the line for that P2 position in that race. This was for P1. Basehead across the line does get ahead there and looking to now open up a gap as Father Corn's looking to get about a pit stop ahead of Quick-Tongue and T-Burke here. Needs a few more seconds on T-Burke to come out ahead cleanly, that is, into that P3 position. But T-Burke doing a good job maintaining the gap behind and ahead here. Finds himself just really holding on the best that he can to Quick-Tongue ahead. The AlphaTauri, who qualified behind the Ferrari, now finds himself ahead along with his teammate. Boosted GMC has a bit to go until he catches Sprightly here. And then there's a 10-second gap up the road to Mike Yunt in the Red Bull here. But looks like it'll be some meaningful point transfers in this Tier 2 race, with many drivers DNF, well, 3 drivers DNFing and a few no-shows. We see, is there an issue with Boosted GMC again here? As Dodger has gotten through, he wasn't even close. Is there damage on the front wing? I don't see anything obvious there for Boosted GMC. I'm wondering if he missed a braking point there. What has happened to the Alpine? He's allowed Dodger through, most likely not intentionally. Two drivers still going at it here, and this makes me want to pick up the wheel again and start racing. There goes Boosted GMC through. He needs to get the overtake done again, and look at this from T-Burke. He's actually closed the gap to Quick-Tongue. He's going to be within DRS range as well, and T-Burke is looking to get the overtake done on track here, maybe even on this lap if he can do it. Opens up the DRS. He's saying, I don't even need the slipstream, and that's because Quick-Tongue has boxed. I'm wondering if there may be wing damage possibly for the AlphaTauri. As the Ferrari of T-Burke goes through there, there's Mike Yunt going through as well. Let's see if a wing change is ready. It does look like the front right has a bit of damage, and he's straight in for a wing change. Is Quick-Tongue there? Here goes Sprightly through on the AlphaTauri, and the battle between Boosted GMC and Dodger still going on. Dodger manages to stay ahead just by the skin of his teeth. But we'll see if Boosted's just a bit closer on the second straight here. Maybe can attack a bit more aggressively in the Alpine. Oh, and there's nearly a wall collection by Dodger, having a difficult time dodging that one. And that one there is Dodger getting wide all over the circuit. But that's the purpose of the circuit, isn't it? Use as much to your advantage as possible. Up ahead, it's Basehead leading from Father Corn. He's opened up that gap to 5 seconds in a matter of a lap and a half. Wow, that is a huge gap that's opened up as now Basehead crosses the line again. We'll stay on board with this battle between Boosted GMC and Dodgers. Boosted has managed to stay within a second gap to the Alfa Romeo ahead there. Remember, different tire compounds, so different strategy between these drivers, but a safety car becoming less and less likely as each lap passes, and there's already a few drivers out of this race, though it's not to say that once these tires get a bit more worn down, as there's a wing replacement from Father Corn, that would explain the slower pace. T-Burke up into P2 in this race. Father Corn out on the hard tires. Mike Yunt will come out right alongside, it seems, the McLaren, but just ahead of the McLaren. And back to this battle between Boosted and Dodger. Dodger managed to pull out of that DRS range and holds on to P6 for at least another lap, but Boosted seems to have pace there as Quick-Tongue's back into the pits here. What has happened to Quick-Tongue? see a reason to box here unless he's got more wing damage. And I'm not able to see. Are they carrying a wing out? They are, as he has no wing at all. Quick Tongue definitely having issues there. Will come out on the hard tires. Skits here still managing his pace as he sets his fastest second sector. And across the line, he's about 5/100ths off, but that shows good quality laps being set in there as Mike Yunt's now into the wall. And what is going on with the night as Quick Tongue picks up a 5-second time penalty. Mike Yunt, without a wing, will now have Sprightly closing in rapidly on him. And you would imagine Sprightly gets through here. Dodger will get through. Boosted will get through as well, as Mike Yunt will just be too slow here through the third sector. Won't have the downforce. He's going to have to lift. You can see Sprightly closing massively into this third sector here. Mike still holding on for now to that P4 as he runs wide there. Here goes Sprightly through. Dodger closing that gap as well. And here comes Boosted GMC. So here's the time where Dodger will pounce because it's difficult for Mike to get the car through. And Dodger needs to be careful there. He is careful. Both drivers are very tentative and very safe through there. As now Dodger trying to get out of, or Mike Yunt trying to get in the slipstream of Dodger as he dives off into the pits there. And so is Boosted GMC into the pits. Wondering if this is a scheduled pit stop for the Alpine driver. We have T-Burke up into P2, and Basehead is just about a pit stop ahead here in P1. This is a great opening stint for the Alpha Tauri driver. He has his mandatory stop out of the way in this race. He started on those soft tires, as did T-Burke. Now out on the mediums here. T-Burke a lap later than Basehead, but a random safety car could come out and could put these drivers in an interesting predicament. As you would imagine, any driver that would now box under the safety car would come out onto the mediums. Father Corn had to go out on the hard tires because he started on those mediums. So here's Basehead clearing another lap here. Boosted GMC, though, very close to Mike Yunt after both drivers boxed on the same lap here. Take a drink there. We have back-to-back races once again here at PPR Esports on Tuesday nights. It's the Xbox tiers. We had the EU race go on earlier today. That was for PC. And I didn't catch the end to that one, but heard it's a good race even though it was around Monaco. I know a lot of drivers don't like to race there. One of my favorite tracks, though, just for the difficulty level of it. I think Baku does it brilliantly, though, having the walls close, but still brings phenomenal racing with opportunities for overtaking. It's quite close to a perfect street circuit. So here's Boosted GMC getting ever closer to Mike Yunt ahead here. And Baku brings you battles like this between Boosted GMC and Mike Yunt. Look at this, as Mike Yunt's able to just close right down into the braking zone there on Boosted GMC. And now Boosted GMC's hoping that maybe he can get the turbos from his Duramax to really get going here, get spooled up and chase down this Honda engine in front of him. And maybe have a chance at an overtake into turn 3. Not quite. He's not going to be close enough, though. Maybe hoping Mike Yunt outbrakes himself for at least the second time tonight we saw Mike Yunt off. So we have a yellow flag in Sector 1. It's a McLaren. It's Skits. Finds himself into the wall. We do have some debris out there. And where's the race leader at? He's coming around turn number 1, so shouldn't have an issue with running into any of that debris. As it's all cleaned up already, the marshals do a phenomenal job here. You can see they had that out of the way before Skits was even down this long straight. Still the closest battle is going to be Boosted GMC and Mike Yunt, and now they've closed the gap to Dodger. Dodger looks to be all fair and square here, but he's out on the hard, so he did box here. So Dodger has his mandatory pit stop out of the way. He comes out on the hard tires. Wasn't necessary for him to do. He could have come out on the mediums here, I believe, unless that was his first stop of the race. Let me just double check here. No, it was not. So he could have come out on the mediums. He elected not to, and he's out on the hard tires and definitely losing a bit of pace to the drivers behind. Here goes Mike Young and Boosted GMC. They couldn't really be closer, could they, between these drivers? And you know what? While all that was going on, Boosted GMC collected himself and crashed out, while Codemasters decided to give us one of the worst camera angles in the history of esports, and I couldn't be angrier about that because now we have a full safety car and we can't even see the reason why. This has happened time and time again with this game, and they can't figure out to not put us in those camera angles when we have 3 drivers going side by side. As you can tell, a bit furious about that one. I would imagine Basehead pits here. 10 laps to 12 laps to go. He should pit. We'll see T-Berg pit as well. I imagine Fathercorn stays out because his hearts can go to the end. But as was expected, a full safety car here now, about the halfway point of this race, a little bit beyond the halfway point. And I just find it unfair that we don't get a chance as spectators to see what happened there between that battle of Boosted GMC, Mike Young, and Dodger. I saw the camera bounce around a little bit, but it's unfortunate because they just can't figure out the coding for that. There goes Basehead. He's out on the hards, actually. 12 laps to go. The mediums can make it. Let's see what T-Berg elects to do here. As Fathercorn goes through into P2 there, as was mentioned, he's going to stay out. So T-Berg does go onto the mediums. Must be listening to Kurbssy, his engineer, on the stream to let him know. Sprightly into the box here. We'll see what he does in the sister car there. Mike Young, he had just boxed a lap ago. Dodger also just boxed, so works out well for them. Skits goes on to the softs, which is interesting. That will be kind of difficult to get to the end. 12 laps on the softs around Baku is definitely not an easy task. See, Fathercorn now, after not boxing here, has closed the gap to Basehead. Obviously, with the safety car restart, he's going to be right behind him, but he's getting closer and closer, wasn't he? Even with that safety car, or without that safety car coming out. Now T-Berg will close in on the back. He's going to be on the fastest tires out of the bunch, and I'll tell you what, they're going to stay out for at least another lap or two, so these tires for T-Berg might work out well for him. If he only has to go 9 laps or so on these mediums under race conditions, it might be just a bit faster tires, a bit more grip, and maybe that's what he needs to get through on the 2 drivers ahead, though Fathercorn and Basehead both very quick drivers there. As we move down the order, everybody has pitted that has wanted to. Skits was the final one to go in there onto the softs. Finds himself racing towards the rear here. And Skits has been making some great progress as the season has gone on here in this McLaren. He's picked up a few points for the team, I believe. Let's clarify that for a moment. I think he has picked up 2 points on the season. No, maybe even more, maybe even 8 points. He might be outscoring his teammate there in that McLaren. Because I think Corny, somehow Corny, has only scored 2 points on the season, though he has the pace there to collect many more. Though with a race like tonight where you have the likes of Boosted GMC, Hulk Smash, Ollies, and Cold Carnival all out, it's really a great night to pounce. I know T-Berg wants that win, but so do the rest of the drivers out here in Tier 2. See Quick Tongue trying to catch up to the back of the grid here. Dodger just ahead. Mike Young here as well, but the top 3 have gotten into focus a bit. Here comes Sprightly up the order. And Skits is there as well, so all the drivers do have to get past the McLaren of Skits unless they let him go through. We'll see if they allow him to go through the safety car and catch back up. We saw that at Imola, I believe, last year. Car is allowed to overtake the safety car when it is safe to do so, to catch back up. And let's see here with T-Burke in P3, Father Corn in P2, and Basehead in P1. This should be a great race to the finish here. It's going to be at least 9 laps left. It might be 8 by the time the safety car goes in here. I know the Mercedes and Burt Mylander love to go around this circuit as many times as possible, but it does get a bit old after a while. You know, let's be real, it is the virtual world, and we know it's all cleaned up at the moment. So maybe we can just get racing here instead of sitting here and watching the back of a beautiful AMG Mercedes. Basehead with a great chance to win the race here, but how about Father Corn coming from P12 all the way up to P2, and he's really been in contention here for a race win ever since lap 3 or so, where he got all the way towards the front. A great start to the race from Father Corn, and it's paid off for him as he finds himself now battling. I have not seen the message for safety car in yet, which I think would come up right about now, which tells me we'll go one more lap here. And it is at least one more lap from the safety car. We can see these tires. Now you have a good idea of how long these tires have to go. That's 1 lap down under non-race conditions. So T-Burke and Sprightly here for the Ferrari team could grab a great haul of points for a team that unfortunately started off with not too many points on the season. Only 8 points so far between the two drivers. All of a sudden, they could quadruple that or at least triple it in this race. They really get on with it here. In a race like this, you don't know what's going to happen. It could go any which way here. So we find ourselves going through Sector 2 here in a moment. One of the greatest sectors in Formula 1. Just the castle section alone is worthy of its title. Sprightly down here in P4. He can get through on skits there if he pleases, I believe. There's much of an issue with that, as skits is caught up in the middle of this order. It's getting very close between these guys up at the front. You need to be careful. You don't want to warm up your tires to the point where you're running into the car in front of you. You would imagine the safety car is in this lap. So it'll be 9 laps under race conditions on some pretty fresh tires for all of these drivers. Father Corn with the tires that are most worn out at this point in the race. I believe he's only pitted once. Safety car luck not exactly going his way. To get them up to temperature. It worked out well for Basehead and T-Burke here, as well as Sprightly, who's now got himself all the way up towards the front. There you have the notification from the FIA and race control that we will have the safety car in this lap. Now, Basehead will become the pseudo safety car here, but this is a circuit, we talked about it last night in the Tier 1 stream from PC, that you don't want to go too early here because you're going to give the car behind some good drag, but if you go right at the line, they're going to know when you're going to launch, and they could be on the attack quite early. So T-Burke here could find himself in a good position. Let's go to the overhead cam for the start of this, or at least a restart of this Grand Prix here. We should have some good battling. Only 8 drivers left somehow, but we're still being treated as some racing, as there is racing as we mention it. Who is that dropping down the order? It's Sprightly right into the pits. And what has happened here? Dodger as well is handing back a position, and we completely missed what happened there once again due to some great camera work, and T-Burke finds himself in the same position as do the top 3. Now Quick Tongue up into P4 because Sprightly's into the pits, and that's a bit of commentator's curse, isn't it? Back out now as Dodger and Mike Young are battling for position here. Up towards the front, it's Father Corn, Basehead, and T-Burke. Sorry, Basehead leading the way with Father Corn and T-Burke. Oh, and there goes Quick Tongue running way wide, and that's allowed Mike Yunt to get very close here, and he'll be on attack in an abnormal position to attack on this circuit. He's looking for the switchback maneuver into the next corner. He's just a bit quicker here, but there goes Quick Tongue with a good exit. We'll hold on to that P4 position for now. And Father Corn there in that P2 position is looking to attack Basehead while he can. He's got 4-lap older tires. Oh, and there goes Quick Tongue into the wall. Quick Tongue is DNF from the race. Quick Tongue's lost a front tire, and that might be another safety car. Here it is. It's a full safety car around Baku for the 3rd time this evening. Or maybe only 2nd. I don't know. I'm so caught up in everything going on. Back under non-race conditions now. This has worked out for Sprightly, as he's lost positions, but he'll join back into the crew here. You know what, if I'm him, I might just go onto the softs, get a bit more pace out of the tires at the restart. And we'll see what happens here at the front of the grid. I think they're going to stay out. I would imagine they stay out. Now, Father Corn's going to go in. Not crazy. I think that's a decent call. T-Burke will stay out. I think that's a great call. Dodger's going to pit, though, so that actually helps Father Corn there. It means he will come out behind Father Corn. Father Corn's come out on the soft, so look for the pace in that McLaren there. Will Sprightly get through? He will not, so Father Corn only drops down 2 positions, but now he has the pace of those soft tires. Now, T-Burke on the 3-lap old mediums has a chance to attack here at the restart, but here we are under a holding pattern once again. And I don't know if I can talk us through another safety car here. I might need to call in some backup for this one. It's just not possible. Everything's good there. Yeah, Father Corn, I like his strat there on those soft tires. I think that's going to be beneficial for him towards the end of this race. Sorry, I know there's a lot of banging going on with the microphone. Just trying to get everything comfortable for myself as I settle in for another 2 hours here. And I wish I had some fun facts to toss out there, but I really don't. I could read through the Wikipedia page, but that wouldn't be exactly interesting, would it? Because anybody can do that. Here we are under a safety car once again in Baku. After Quick Tongue collected himself in the castle section, which was bound to happen. It's just the way Baku goes. It's always an event through the castle section. And let's see if we can find anything fun about Baku in the meantime. Well, I don't think so. It is a fun track to watch, though. I will give it that. We only have 7 drivers left at this point in the race. All drivers are bunched up, so I'd expect the safety car to be in this lap, though. What's going on with Dodger? He's back into the pits. So Dodger just pitted. Now he's back into the pits. There's only 6 laps. Skits is a newer driver here, just learning his pace a bit. This is Tier 2, so more of a development tier to get up into Tier 1. So you might see a bit more pace disparity between the drivers on the grid. Now, once we have the Tier 1 race in about 22 minutes or so, this race better get underway shortly, so we can get over to that one. Once we have the Tier 1 race out there, you'll see a bit more about the parity that we have throughout the league in the race. Even the drivers towards the top of this grid would be able to compete there for some points positions. And thank you for the follow, Patty Pat. Appreciate that one. So that's right, we do have 2 streams tonight. It'll be the 3rd on the day, as well as there goes Skits. Oh no, Skits and Father Corn, so Father Corn has picked up points. And it's 2 teammates, or penalties I mean, it's 2 teammates that have run into one another. Not sure who was at fault there, didn't quite see what happened. But that is massive for the McLaren team that now finds themselves in an issue here, because Father Corn, he was out on these soft tires, he had a chance to come through, and still does have a chance to come through and challenge for the race win here, but with that 3-second time penalty, no, 5 seconds, I believe it is. It is a 5-second penalty. No, it's 10 seconds for Father Korn. That's massive for the McLaren, who was once challenging for the win in this Grand Prix, and he will need a miracle now. And Father Korn has had some abysmal luck this season. Safety car is in this lap, so we will have base head become the safety car once again here. And there we see Kimi Räikkönen in P2. Decided his tires are warm enough. Oh, getting a bit close there, actually, to driver ahead. And we'll see. We'll go with the rear wing view of base head this time to get a good idea of the action. As we go for the restart here, though, that might not work. T-Burke's trying to get ahead here. And it's up to base head. There he goes. He launches away there, and he's trying to get all drivers outside of his wing. And now they have a bit of slipstream. We see a driver into the pits there. He is going to be Father Korn serving that penalty, maybe, is Father Korn, as here goes base head into turn number 2. Will still lead the race ahead of T-Burke here. And Mike Yunt staying close behind. So Mike Yunt has worked his way back up the grid there after looking like he was out of it shortly into this race. He now finds himself battling for a podium position here. Sprightly here ahead of Dodger as well, but let's go back up towards the front. This is the battle that we need to keep an eye on right now. It is between basehead T-Burke and Mike Yunt for the race win here. 5 laps to go now, and we're really coming down to the wire in this Grand Prix. Let's see who's going to come out on top. We have an AlphaTauri leading a Ferrari with a Red Bull in the mix here as well, but another Ferrari down there in P4. This Ferrari team, I'm telling you, keep an eye on them. They should get a good haul of points today as long as they can finish the race. Let's go on board with Mike Yunt, who has Sprightly just behind here, but look how close Dodger is on the medium tires. Just has a bit more pace than the hards ahead, apparently, and he's looking to close the gap as they head towards sector number 3 here. Ooh, and gets very close to the rear of the Ferrari ahead. Let's see what they're able to do now through towards one of the greatest sectors as well here. Then, if you can tell by now, Baku is one of more enjoyable circuits, I should call it, just due to all the race action that goes on here. See towards the top, not much battling going on there. It seems that this might be the closest between Dodger and Sprightly at the moment, but down into turn number 1, it's still going to be basehead leading T-Burke here. You can see Mike Yunt losing out to the pace ahead a bit. Both drivers looking to pull away from one another. It's different tire strategies right now. We don't have DRS activated just yet. Dodgers ever closer with 4 laps to go. On the next lap, we should get DRS around here as we have a yellow flag in sector 1, and it's going to be the teammate of Father Korn skits into the wall there. They have a bit of an issue with his front wing once again. Let's see what happened if he served. Father Korn did serve 5-second time penalty, so maybe hoping for another safety car would close the gap a bit. But not quite. Here goes T-Burke, even closer to basehead here. Needs to be careful. Needs to just bide his time here. Still got 4 laps to go. Stay as close as you can. Hang out in that DRS zone and use those tires to your advantage here in that Ferrari. You need to not allow Mike Yunt to close the gap. That's really the main thing to worry about is Dodger. Very close to the driver ahead there, Sprightly. This is the closest battle on track right now. It's T-Burke very close to basehead there with the 808s in P1. Let's see if he's able to close this gap going down the long back straight here. Each driver's using ERS. You can take a look at the steering wheel. That yellow bar is how much ERS is being used. That's the energy recovery system or something along those lines. And that will allow these drivers to just get a bit more boost out of their car. You can see the Ferrari closing the gap. I don't like to say it out loud on the stream, just in the event that they are listening. The Ferrari looks to have a bit more pace down the straight here. And let's see the breaking point now. This is going to be a big battle between the two as they go side by side through turn number 1. There's slight contact, but it looks clean to me. And there goes T-Burke into turn number 2. He's going to be ahead of the AlphaTauri for the race lead. And do we have DRS activated at this point? We do. And there is the rear wing open from basehead. Is he going to be able to attack T-Burke back on this lap alone? It doesn't appear so at the time, but he's going to be very close there as Father Korn has now set the fastest lap of the race so far. Mike Yunt only a 1.5 2.5 behind Basehead there, but Dodger and Sprightly have swapped positions. Dodger did get through there. Give me one moment while I check something out here. Yeah. Okay, so we do have Basehead here in P2, T-Burke in P1. So T-Burke looking to get his maiden win here at PPR Esports. Can he do it this evening in Baku? 3 laps to go here. He's looking to make it 2 laps to go, still in the race lead in just a moment's time. Now opening up the gap a little bit, needs to save up some of that ERS, needs to just be a bit careful here, bit cautious of the drivers behind. We know Basehead is a very quick driver, as well as Mike Yunt, but look out for Dodger as well on the charge right now. He's caught all the way up to the rear wing of Mike Yunt, who's losing a bit of pace, and here goes the Alfa Romeo. Is he going to go side by side? He's going to go for the overtake early here, decides to back out of it, and I think that was a very smart option, just to play it a bit safe there. Why go for it now when he can go for it in a moment's time down this straight? He's going to have DRS here. And let's see. He's getting hugged against the wall, but everything looks clean. Now it's going to be maybe a double overtake as Sprightly goes up the inside of Mike Yunt. No, he's going to back out of it early. Another mature racing decision there from a Ferrari driver. Father Corn has closed the gap immensely to the drivers ahead, but being 17 seconds down the road, I don't know that he will catch up in 2 laps time. That would be quite remarkable. As here goes Mike Yunt looking to go around the outside. There's not going to be much room there. He settles in behind Dodger. And Sprightly still in this battle as well. So a 3-way battle for that final podium place. We have T-Burke leading the way from Basehead and Dodger. T-Burke going with a very boring helmet design, if I may say so. But some drivers opted for no helmet today. Specifically this man right here, Dodger. Driving with no helmet around this circuit. Don't know that it's the safest call, but it is a call. We have a yellow flag in Sector 2, and that's because Father Corn has done something here. Not sure exactly what. Let's see, his wing looks all good, so don't know what happened there with Father Corn. Here's Basehead 2.5 seconds down the road from T-Burke, so T-Burke still widening that gap ever so slightly. And if we take a look at those yellow bars on the steering wheel, once again we have a good idea of how much energy is being used by these racers. We now have Mike Yunt in the DRS of Dodger ahead here. Dodger in that P3 position, looking to hold on to it for the moment. He does on this particular section of the track. See here, T-Burke looking to make that gap about 3 seconds with a lap and a half to go here. So the Ferrari driver leading the way. A Red Bull driver looking to close in on the Alfa Romeo of Dodger there for that final podium place. And you know Mike Yunt wants it because that would propel him, I believe, into the overall championship lead of Xbox Tier 2. Tier 1 in 13 minutes. We have about 4 minutes left in this race. Maybe 3 minutes. Dodger's now closing in on Basehead here, and could Basehead be in a bit of an issue? He's used a ton of pace there, and now finds himself under attack from an Alfa Romeo, and Dodger's looking to get a P2 out of this. Mike Yunt might even get a P3 from Basehead if he's not careful. Though look at this from Sprightly, he's closing the gap as well. As we get down towards the DRS straight here, we could see quite a few overtakes still on this final lap. Oh, and there's a huge spinner there from Dodger. Dodger's out of the race. He sacked it all just because he wanted P2. He wasn't good enough for P3 apparently, and he's lost it all there on the final lap of the race. Well, just about as T-Burke starts the final lap. That is a huge disappointment for the Alfa Romeo team. Mike Yunt has been surpassed by Sprightly there, and this has opened up the gap for Basehead to carry on, and I can't believe that has just happened. With 1 minute and 45 seconds to go, Dodger has been another DNF here. And we might have more DNFs than drivers starting. And thank you for the follow out there, Cody. Appreciate that one. As T-Burke is looking to wrap up his first ever race win here at PPR Esports. He's charging through the second sector here. He has one more sector to go. Needs to be careful. Wouldn't push it too hard if I'm T-Burke, because we saw what happened. Dodger, unfortunately, DNFing there. I can't believe he had such good pace. And really, he was on for a podium result here today. T-Burke in the Ferrari, looking for a race win here today. We have to stay on board with this man right here, even though Mike Yount's closing in on Sprightly there. Alex, welcome to the chat as well. Here goes T-Burke. He will be the driver across the line in just a moment's time, and T-Burke is going to win here. PPR Esports Xbox Tier 2, round number 3 in Baku. It goes to this man right here in the Ferrari. Congratulations to him as Basehead crosses the line in P2, Sprightly in P3, Mike Yount in P4. Father Korn's also DNF'd. What has gone on here this evening? As Skits is still out on track right now. We will wait for a half a lap for him to get through, but you can see down there in Sector 2 that Father Korn has DNF'd now, and I can't believe it. Skits is going to finish P5 in this race. Started down in P11. We do have the Tier 1 race coming up in now 10 minutes. One moment. Skits comes through here and passes by where his teammate crashed on this lap here. Once again, Skits coming through the third sector, so we do have the race winner as T-Burke out here. Basehead finishes P2, Sprightly in P3, so 2 Ferraris on a podium. Great result there for the team from Italy. Mike Yount there in P4. Skits, there he is, coming across the line in just a moment here. And there it is from the McLaren. So that wraps up the race for today, at least in Tier 2. And now 8 minutes. We'll have the Tier 1 race. Maybe push that back a couple minutes just to give me a breather. See if we could do that one. As Father Korn grabs the driver of the day, even though he did not finish the race. Shades of Romain Grosjean. And there's T-Burke. On the top step of the podium is the Frenchman. Congratulations, wee wee. To Tom, a.k.a. Thumb. Congratulations, Thumb. Proud of you. Let's look elsewhere here. The AlphaTauri of Basehead on the podium as well as the Ferrari of Sprightly. We'll take a look at the final order now. It's T-Burke with the race win. Basehead there in P2, the Mexican driver with a great race there in the AlphaTauri. The Englishman of Sprightly gets across in P3. PPR Mike Yount in P4. Now Father Korn and Skits, 2 McLarens that finish, well, you would say side by side, but one of them didn't even finish the race. That would be Father Korn there. Now, as we go from Dodger down, well, these drivers finish the race here. Dodger, Quick Tongue, Boosted GMC, Hulk Smash, Ollies, and Cold Carnival, all DNFing from the race. Now, Tom did win the race here, that being T-Burke, but no interviews for him as I do have to cut out, reset the stream, and get ready for tier number 1. So there you have it. Once again, T-Burke with the race win. Congratulations to him. Basehead and Sprightly on the podium as well. Thank you all very much for joining me on this one. I'll be back in about 7 minutes now.